Okay, so let's talk about what is quite possibly the most dysfunctional family in all of history. We're talking a three-generation saga of betrayal, rebellion, and a universe-shattering fight for the ultimate throne. This is the story of how the Greek gods clawed their way to power, and we're starting at the very, very beginning.
Yeah, that's a great question, right? Because we all know Zeus, king of the gods, thunderbolts, the whole deal. But here's the thing. His story? It's actually the final chapter of a much older and frankly much bloodier story. So to really get a handle on his reign, we've got to go back, way back, to the beginning of the cosmos itself.
So our story really kicks off way back. I mean, before there were gods, before there were kings, before there was really anything we'd recognize. This is the era of the primordials. And they were, well, the fundamental forces of the entire cosmos.
You know, the easiest way to wrap your head around the primordials is to not even think of them as characters. Not really. Think of them more like cosmic building blocks. They weren't just living in the universe, they literally were the universe. We're talking about the void itself, the earth, the sky, night, day, the whole shebang.
Okay, so out of this nothingness, this chaos, you get Gaia, that's the earth. And then she gives birth to Uranus, the sky. Now, this is where it gets a little weird because he becomes both her son and her husband. Yeah. Anyway, together, they become the first cosmic power couple, with Uranus stepping up as the very first ruler of, well, everything.
But let me tell you, Uranus was a terrible dad. Just awful. And a pretty tyrannical king, too. He was so scared of his own kids, the Titans, that he actually imprisoned them deep inside their own mother, Gaia. As you can imagine, she was not happy about this. So, fed up, she helps out another one of her sons, Cronus, who, well, attacks and overthrows his own father. And this single act of rebellion, it sets a very dangerous precedent for generations to come.
And just like that, we're into Act 2, the Age of the Titans. Uranus is gone, out of the picture. So his kids, this older generation of gods, they take over the whole cosmos. And who's their new king? You guessed it, their brother, Cronus.
And right away, you can see the big problem. Cronus is absolutely haunted by the fear of being overthrown, just like he did to his own dad. This paranoia turns him into an even bigger monster. He is terrified, absolutely terrified, that one of his kids is going to do the exact same thing to him.
So this kicks off a truly horrifying cycle of paranoia. There's this prophecy that warns Cronus, hey, your destiny is sealed. Your own kid is going to take you down. So what does he do? To prevent this, as his wife Rhea gives birth to each child, one by one, he swallows them whole. No, seriously. Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, Poseidon, gone. But Rhea, she just can't take it anymore. When their last child is born, she comes up with a pretty desperate plan.
So Rhea secretly sends the baby, and this baby is Zeus, by the way, away to be raised in hiding. Then she does something clever. She grabs a rock, wraps it up in baby clothes, and hands it to Kronos, and he, totally blinded by his own paranoia, just swallows it down without a second thought. So the future king of the gods, he's safe. For now. And the stage is officially set for the next great war.
And that brings us to the final act. Zeus, of course, grows up. He becomes this incredibly powerful god, and he is ready to take on his father and, free all his brothers and sisters from his dad's stomach. This is it. This is the moment the new generation rises up to claim the cosmos.
Look, this wasn't just some little skirmish. This was a full-on, universe-altering war. It's called the Titanomachy. On one side, you've got the Titans. They're the old guard, the establishment, led by a king who's completely lost it to paranoia. And on the other side, you've got the Olympians. They're the young, hungry, ambitious new generation, and their leader is the cunning and determined Zeus.
He was a brutal fight. We're talking a 10-year-long war. But in the end, the Olympians came out on top. And the first thing Zeus does? He forces his father, Cronus, to, well, throw up his siblings. And they come out fully grown and ready to rule. Just like that, the old order was toast. And yeah, the consequences for losing this war, they were absolute. Most of the Titans were thrown down into Tartarus. Think of it as the deepest, darkest pit in the entire underworld. Their top general, Atlas, got a special punishment all his own. He was forced to hold up the sky on his shoulders, forever. Meanwhile, the winners, the Olympians, they set up their new headquarters and home base on top of Mount Olympus.
All right, so from their new home on the mountain, this new pantheon of gods starts carving up the world. Zeus, obviously, becomes the king, ruler of the sky. His brother Poseidon gets the sea, and the others, like Hera, Demeter, and Athena,
They all take charge of their own domains. This basically creates the world order that most of us are familiar with when we think of Greek mythology.
So there you have it. That's the whole messy story of how Zeus and the Olympians came to power. But why do we still care? I mean, why are we still talking about this ancient family drama thousands of years later? What's the big deal?
Well, their legacy is, and I'm not exaggerating, literally everywhere. It's baked into our language. Ever heard of a Titanic struggle? Yep, that comes from this era. The character types they created, the paranoid father, the rebellious kid, the hero who steals fire for humanity like Prometheus, these are the building blocks for so many stories we still tell today. Because at their heart, these myths are all about timeless human stuff, power, betrayal, ambition, and of course family drama, just on a cosmic scale.
And that really leaves us with one final big question to chew on. Think about it. Across 3 generations, from Uranus to Cronus to Zeus, we see this repeating cycle where power is seized by rebellion. So if even the gods can be overthrown, what does that say about the nature of power itself? Is anyone's throne, anyone's position, ever truly secure? It's a question these myths posed back then, and it's still just as relevant today.